The farmhouse stood at the end of a dirt road, wrapped in silence and weeds. The "For Sale" sign leaned sideways, its paint peeling, as if even it had grown tired of waiting. When Tom Rivers parked his old pickup by the gate, he didn't see decay, he saw hope. A fresh start. After losing his wife, Anna, 2 years ago, life had felt like a series of half-finished repairs. His 7-year-old daughter, Emma, was all he had left to hold on to. But the city apartment was too small, too full of memories. So when Tom found an abandoned farmhouse in northern Missouri selling for next to nothing, he signed the papers without a second thought. Place hasn't been lived in since the Myers family disappeared, the realtor told him, flipping through files. You sure about it? Tom smiled faintly. Disappeared, or just moved away? She shrugged. Some say they vanished one winter night. Doors unlocked, supper on the table. Creepy, huh? He chuckled, though uneasily. Sounds like a ghost story. But ghosts didn't scare him. Loneliness did. That first weekend, he drove out alone, determined to make the place livable. The air smelled of pine and damp earth. The porch groaned under his boots, the paint faded to a tired gray. But inside, sunlight streamed through cracked windows, catching the dust like gold flakes. He set to work, scrubbing floors, sealing leaks, replacing a few panes of glass. The rhythm of cleaning soothed him. It felt almost peaceful. Still, there were moments when the house seemed to breathe. Once, while fixing a shutter, Tom swore he heard footsteps upstairs. Another time, a door creaked open behind him, slowly, like someone watching. He turned around, but the hall was empty. Just old wood, he muttered. Nothing more. That night, as he slept on an air mattress, the wind howled through the rafters. It sounded like whispers, but he refused to listen. In the morning, he laughed at himself and packed up. Next time, kiddo, he told Emma over the phone, you'll see it with me. It's rough, but it's ours. 3 weeks later, Tom drove back to check the repairs. It was late afternoon, the sky amber with sunset. The fields glowed, the mailbox leaned slightly, and the air smelled faintly of smoke. He frowned. Smoke. As he turned the corner, he froze. The farmhouse chimney was smoking, thick and steady. Someone was inside. His heart kicked hard in his chest. He hadn't told anyone he owned the place yet. Tom parked quietly and walked up the path. The porch boards creaked under his steps. The front door was shut tight, but light spilled through the cracks, flickering, alive. He reached for the handle, hesitating. Voices drifted from within. A woman's low hum, then another, softer, younger. He pushed the door open. 2 women sat at the kitchen table. One, in her 50s, stirred soup in a pot that smelled like vegetables and herbs. The other, no older than 20, was mending a torn quilt by the window. They both looked up, startled but calm, like they'd been expecting him. Tom's voice broke the silence. Who are you? What are you doing in my house? The older woman's spoon clattered into the pot. Your house, she whispered, eyes widening. No, this is our home. He frowned. I bought it last month. It's been abandoned for years. The younger one shook her head, her face pale. Abandoned. We never left. A cold ripple went down Tom's spine. The realtor's words echoed in his memory. The Myers family disappeared one winter night. He stared at the 2 women, heart pounding. Are you saying you're... The older woman slowly stood, her gaze sharp yet sorrowful. You shouldn't have come back after dark, she said quietly. The house doesn't like new owners. Tom's pulse thudded in his ears. What do you mean the house doesn't like new owners? The older woman, Ruth, didn't answer. She turned toward the hallway and whispered to the younger one, Clara, close the cellar door. Now. The girl dropped the quilt and hurried off. Tom's flashlight beam followed her steps until the creaking door slammed shut in the back of the house. He swallowed hard. Look, I don't know what game you're playing, but you need to leave. I bought this property legally. Ruth's gaze was steady, almost sad. If only it were that simple. Tom clenched his fists. You're trespassing. Then call the sheriff, she said softly, turning back to stir the soup. If you can. Tom pulled out his phone, but the screen was black. Battery full, yet nothing responded. No light, no signal. Outside, The last rays of sunset slipped behind the trees, and the whole house dimmed as though the night itself pressed against the windows. From below the floor, something groaned, a low, dragging sound, like chains being pulled through earth. Tom froze. What was that? Ruth's face went pale. It's awake. He backed toward the door, fumbling for his keys. I'm leaving. Too late, she said. It doesn't like when people leave. The kitchen light flickered, then died. In the darkness, Tom could see their faces faintly lit by the fire. Ruth was trembling, clutching a wooden cross. Clara stood near the cellar, whispering prayers under her breath. What's down there? He demanded. Ruth looked up slowly. My husband, and every man who ever tried to own this land. Tom's stomach turned. That's insane. Maybe, Ruth said, but the house feeds on what it's lost. It doesn't forget. Before he could respond, the cellar latch rattled violently. Dust drifted from the ceiling. The whole house seemed to breathe. Tom lunged forward and grabbed the heavy latch, pressing it down. Help me. Ruth and Clara rushed over, pushing with him. The wood strained, moaning. Then, silence. For a moment, all three stood still, breathing hard. Then, Ruth whispered, It's done. For now. Tom stepped back, shaking. I don't understand. You said your husband. He disappeared 10 years ago. That can't be true. Ruth's eyes filled with tears. 10 years. We lost him in 1935. He stared at her. That's not possible. She reached for a small silver locket around her neck and pressed it into his hand. When you come back in daylight, you'll know. And then, before his eyes, the women faded. The air shimmered like heat on asphalt, and they were gone. The next morning, Tom awoke on the floor, his flashlight dead beside him. The house was silent again, cold, empty. He staggered outside and drove straight to the county archives. The clerk listened quietly as Tom described the two women. Then he sighed, pulling out an old newspaper. The headline read, Myers family dies in farmhouse fire, 1935. Tom stared, his blood running cold. The photo showed Ruth and Clara, smiling in front of the same porch. Weeks later, Tom returned. He rebuilt the porch, painted the walls, and planted flowers by the gate. When Emma finally moved in, the house felt different, gentler, almost grateful. And sometimes, on quiet evenings, when the wind moved through the fields, Emma would giggle and ask, Daddy, who's singing in the kitchen? Tom would smile faintly, listening to the soft hum of a woman's voice drifting through the air, warm, kind, and watching over them. Moral. Some homes remember love more than fear. And sometimes, what haunts a house isn't evil, just the echo of a family waiting to be remembered.